Kill it.
Earth power.
Oh.
Do you like demons, angels, gods, otherworldly things in general, mythical creatures, perhaps, like gorgons, incubi, fae, cryptids you've never heard of because they didn't exist until now? And what if they kissed? Hey, first video, I'm Rince. Welcome to the craziest pitch you've ever laid your eyes upon. This world that I'm describing is a world that's a huge work in progress called Alone in Angeles. Originally a slice-of-life world that was just a home for humanized Sanseius, it's now a psychologically focused, dramatic, aspiring comic series about complex queer relationships, overcoming toxic traits and trauma, supernatural shit, and I want to talk about it. I am so very normal about this story of mine, if you can't tell. So, this little intro will just be about the main characters in order of importance to my heart. Dave, Spencer, Mickey, Bug, and Denise. The main six, without a sixth, if you will, and at the end of the video, I'll get into my actual intro and what this channel will be about. So, without further ado, let's get into it. But first, quick disclaimer. This story, and the channel for that matter, is currently 16 plus. However, once I turn 18, it will be booted to 18 plus. So keep that in mind because this series is meant to be for mature audiences. So if you decide to follow along this journey with me, just make sure you meet that age demographic. Now, let's get into it. Dave motherfucking Redder, my light in the storm, the worst person you've met. If you can't tell, he's the main character of this story I'm developing. He's asexual, demi-bi-romantic, because I love projecting onto my characters. He's around 24, but chronologically, he's like 40. He's basically a really lame vampire. Except not a vampire, he's an incubus. But unlike a pure incubus, which in this world, as of writing the script, ages 10 times slower physically and mentally than humans, he was turned into an incubus due to some kind of deal with a character I will talk about at another time. I won't get into his backstory too much because spoilers, but I can give the Cliff Notes version. Essentially, he was a human. Duh. Just a little guy adopted by two moms growing up in LA circa 1980s before some sort of lore placement which put a strain on his relationship with said moms. Fast forward about 10 years and he's like 23 and bar hopping with some buddies he doesn't talk to anymore. At a casino, he meets an old friend and is like, yo, we play a buckshot roulette, and they're like, yeah man, let's go. Then he gets shot or whatever and gets turned into an incubus. Yeah. His life, even before that, was going downhill, but his self-destructive habits just worsened after he realized he aged slower and therefore had more time on this hellish earth, which he wasn't very excited about. I promise there's more to it than that, but like I said, spoilers. So as filler, I will talk about his origins. Like I said, this world was about humanized Sanseius, and Dave was a Killer Sans variant I had named Shades, because he had sunglasses. Yeah, I'm one of those fuckers, take it or leave it. Shades was a killer with sunglasses, like I said, who you may know about already if you followed my DeviantArt a few years back, and was often used in roleplays which molded his backstory and personality from there. He had a player ghost who was a source of his determination. I promise this makes sense if you've been in the fandom, and if you don't, I apologize. Explaining all that would be like a whole other video on its own. And there was a whole load of drama about that. It was a whole thing, man. He had a horror sans boyfriend, two adopted kids that were hardly 10 years younger than him, and it was awesome and adorable, and why did my friend have to grow out of Scarlet? No. Anyway, there was an inside joke within the roleplay about someone who was roleplaying as a version of Tubbo from Dream SMP, calling him Dave, because it was funny, and it kind of stuck, and his boyfriend was lovingly named Bob. Just silly nicknames, of course. A while after that, I ended up making some human designs. I thought it was funny to make Shade's human counterpart named Dave because it was silly and it was a fun little callback, and you can see how that escalated. Long story short, after abandoning the universe for months, I picked it up when I was trying to redesign Dave during math class of all things and went, it'd be really funny if I gave him horns. And the rest is history. So here he is. If I ended up doing 2 speed paints with this long little rant, You can also see the turnaround of him I did, which I did before the quick front-facing ref that matches all the other refs I did, so I at least had something before struggling with more turnarounds. I love him so much, and I hope another brick gets thrown at him. If you know, you know. The next one is Spencer, who was completely different from his original concept. He was originally a skinny fell sans named Spikes, who was going to keep the same personality, but then I decided him and Dave would be way too similar in that regard, so instead, I went with a big ol' himbo doormat kind of character. The other half of Dave. He's also an incubus, physically and mentally around 25, but chronologically, like, 250 or so. Pansexual, aromantic, intersex, trans mask. He spent most of his life in the after realm, which will be discussed in another video since that's a whole other lore-filled can of worms. And that's about all I have for him so far as of writing this. Admittedly, his relationship with Dave is much more fleshed out than his actual backstory, which I am working on. Basically, they're friends with benefits. What? But Dave, he's asexual. I like to fuck with the aro spectrum in general. That includes looking at Dave and deciding that even though Shades was formerly sex repulsed, Dave likes the act, just lacks the attraction. Do your own research because YouTube won't like me going in depth, and I'm still a minor! Like I said, service level details until I can officially dub this story as 18+, you know? Anyway, they're roommates, and Spencer does most of the housework, Dave makes the messes, Spencer cleans them. While Dave is incredibly self-absorbed, Spencer hardly thinks about himself and is treating people like problems that need to be solved or explained. Any of you fuck with Narcissist Cookbook? Just me? No? Okay. And overall, he means well. He's a really sweet guy who, besides Denise, feels like the only one who makes some semblance of sense at times. No, he writes a fine line between making sense and being the most overprotective mama bear known to man. A lot of the time he crosses that line. Admittedly, I took a lot of inspo from that one snapping turtle from that one show that I am also incredibly normal about. How I love you, my sweet protective boy. Anyway, here's Spencer. What a man. In short, he's a big softie who's not afraid of putting up a fight, definitely has some issues he both intentionally and unintentionally ignores for the sake of those he cares about. Toxic positivity, maybe some of that, mostly stemming from his brother, that we'll discuss another time. And the next one we'll talk about is Mickey Miller. Aside from Spencer, Dave's best friend. They're an aro-ace lesbian who bleaches their hair and helps Dave bleach his, and they're super cool no matter how blunt they can be. ADHD, woo! I actually have another version of them in an AU that came before the main version of Mickey, who grew up in a dystopian downfall of society, residing in Canada. But both of them are just as tech-savvy and silly. Both of them even made their own prosthetics. And maybe Mickey's a streamer, I don't know. I'll talk about dystopian Mickey another time. I love them very much. Dave and Mickey obviously met after he was turned into an incubus, given that Dave is chronologically twice their age. However, they both may as well be mentally frat boys. While Mickey helps Spencer make sure Dave doesn't die or whatever, they're also not above helping Dave with shenanigans. While Spencer is unavailable, Mickey says ride or die. I actually had a bit of trouble with Mickey's design, not as much as Bugs, but whatever. Given that they're so simple in their older iterations, while pleasing, it doesn't give you much to assume, you know? No titty bikini is a power move, but what else do you get from that, you know? So I'm adding some pizzazz to their arm, while also adding goggles to add a bit of interest, kind of hint that they might, like, do some tech stuff. I think I like it. All that aside, I very much enjoy them. While I'm still unhappy with their Chad jaw, AMAB or not, it's a design I can refine later, at some time in the future. A reference that works for now. Here they are, in all their glory, and before you ask, no, I'm still not sure on how they lost their arm. Feel free to give me ideas, I need everything I can get. So, up next is Bug. Bug was actually my friend's Spider-Verse OC that I bought off them. Poor thing has been sitting in my Toy House folders with no way of knowing whether they'd be used. And they would be! They're a classic, chubby, bubbly friend, loosely inspired by the scene style with some simplifications so they wouldn't be hell to redraw. Very detail-oriented, and actually work as a sketch artist for a police station as of writing this. While I don't have much for their backstory yet, the same goes to Denise, who I will talk about in a second, I can say I do enjoy them a lot. Relationship-wise, they're Denise's best friend, being the most affectionate. Them and Mickey are very close, I think. They don't really spend much time with Spencer or Dave, but they're here. I really need to figure out what their deal is, man. Like I said, work in progress, pre-production, this and that. I had a lot of fun with their body, though. I adore the shape, I adore how huggable they are, and stretch marks are very fun to draw. I would recommend it. Please draw them more. So, speaking of Denise, here's the girl of the hour. And boy, do I have things to share about her. Originally, she was a Dust Sands variant named Socket, whose human design was named Daryl. He was gonna be part of the story, yeah, but then I had a very silly idea. See, I roleplay with my friends, like I said, I know, crazy, but there's always been this little inside joke about Socket, my version of Dust, you know, being trans. Specifically trans femme with a bunch of internalized transphobia and being awoken by the ability to wear skirts. You had to be there, okay? So, this was a perfect opportunity to turn Daryl to Denise. She's a proper lady, but still very grouchy. Her and Dave tend to butt heads a lot. They hate each other. She doesn't really like most of the group, but she and Dave don't get on at all, especially. The most they do is smoke together with snide remarks. However, Denise and Bug are best of buds. Hey, that rhymed. They love the hell out of each other. Even though Denise doesn't really show it, you know, opposites attract kind of thing. Whoa. The most I have for Denise as of writing this is that she comes from a Christian family, definitely a bit of religious trauma in there, I bet. And while she still holds some of the habits and beliefs, she tries to distance herself from the religion as much as possible. May dress bland, but her words are anything but. And here she is. And that's about all I got for today. The next part of this little series will be about some side characters and also our antagonists. I really hope you guys stick around for that, and I also hope you guys consider sticking around for this journey up ahead, making this into a comic and all that. It's gonna be a long one. With all that aside, outro ahoy. Feel free to skip it. Like I said, it's gonna have some intro to my channel and stuff. I will see you on the other side. So, to give an actual intro to my channel, since I don't want to make a whole video for it or fill the entire intro with it, hey, I'm Rin. My pronouns are they, them, and Rince and Esner, the two little guys you've been seeing in this video, are my mascots. And I usually speak through Rince, because, yeah, makes sense. I'm really excited to finally start uploading about my passion project, but my channel isn't just about Alone and Angelus, AIA for short. No. I have a couple other videos in the works, actually, because I'm also going to be dipping my toes in the commentary and character design and such, because, I have opinions, and I want to share them, you know? If you stuck around for this long, I'm so excited for you to join me. My Discord for my story and other socials will be in the description. Feel free to join, follow, whatever. Maybe support my coffee to get a shout out and sneak peeks my Discord doesn't get. Who knows? Anyway, I'll see you around on the other side. Like I said, on the other. Yep.